But here's what I also know. I know we can steer ourselves out of this crisis. That's who we are. That's what we always do as Americans. Our nation has faced difficult times before, and at each of those moments, we've risen to meet the challenge because we've never forgotten that fundamental truth. Here in America, our destiny is not written for us, it's written by us. We decide. We decide. With God's grace, we decide the path to follow. But here's another thing I know. We can't steer ourselves out of this crisis by heading in the same disastrous direction. We can't steer ourselves out of this crisis with a driver who wants to go the same way into the ditch. And that's what this election's all about. I got to talk about my opponent for a second. Because he's been talking about me. You know, hey. President Abraham Lincoln, from my home state of Illinois, he once had a comment that applies here. He said to one of his opponents, "If you don't stop lying about my record, I'm going to have to start telling the truth about yours." So, yesterday my opponent, he gave a speech in which his big solution to this worldwide economic crisis, the biggest financial problem that we've had since the Great Depression, his big solution was to blame me for it. That was his answer. This is a guy who spent a quarter century in Washington. And after spending the entire campaign saying the reason you should elect him is because he's got all this Washington experience, and that I haven't been in Washington long enough, apparently he's now decided to assign me responsibility for all the things going on in Washington. Now, I think it's pretty clear that Senator McCain is a little panicked. At this point, he's willing to say anything, do anything, change any position, violate any principle to try and win this election. And that's sad to see. That's not what we need. But we do need to clear up the record, just so you know what the truth is. So let's be clear. There's only one candidate who just this week said a line he's repeated 16 times on this campaign, and that is that the fundamentals of our economy are strong. There's only one candidate who called himself, and I quote, fundamentally a deregulator, when it was reckless deregulation and lack of oversight that's a big part of the problem on Wall Street right now. And here's the really scary part. Now the great deregulator wants to turn his attention to health care. He wrote in the current issue of a magazine, current issue, and I quote, "Opening up the health insurance market to more vigorous nationwide competition, as we've done over the last decade in banking, would provide more choices of innovative product, less burdened by the worst excesses of state-based regulation." That's right, John McCain says he wants to do for healthcare what Washington did for banking. Folks, let me tell you, we don't want to go there. That's a risk America can't afford. There's only one candidate in this race whose choice for Treasury Secretary is a man who thinks we're going through a mental recession, that it's all in your head, and it's called the United States of America, and I quote, a nation of whiners. There's only one candidate whose campaign is being run by 7 of Washington's most powerful corporate lobbyists. And let me tell you, this one candidate, it ain't me. Just so everybody's clear, I don't take a dime from Washington lobbyists and special interests. They don't fund my campaign, they will not run our campaign, they will not run our White House, and they will not drown out the voice of the American people when I'm president of the United States of